Hello, my name is Emerensia Widjaja, and this is my CIS 3367 final project video for Professor Adrian Wheeler's class. So for this final project, I am going to use Excel Solver to help me solve a problem. And this time, I chose Amazon as my topic. As you might know, Amazon is one of the biggest e-commerce in the world. Nowadays, it's getting more and more popular for people to buy something online. I came across this article about Amazon, which is about how Amazon may misestimates its holiday sales forecast. This year is the first year I've been able to experience Thanksgiving holiday, where it is the time of the year where people are mad to buy products online during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And Christmas is approaching. An e-commerce giant like Amazon surely wants to maximize this holiday season to capture more revenue. Therefore, having an accurate sales projection will surely be beneficial for them. Now, I will explain what I did using Excel Solver to create a sales regression for Amazon. It is very simple, yet it can give a lot of insights and very useful. Here, I am going to use a basic statistics theory that I've learned in my business statistics class, which is about regression line. So here in my Excel file, I created two tabs, which is Setup tab and Sales Regression Model. Basically, the Setup tab is what my tab looks like before I run the solver, and the Sales Regression Model is the result after I run my solver. So I'm just going to go for the Setup tab this time. So what I did here is I collected Amazon past data from their website. They on their website they actually have like this annual reports from previous years. So I just took the annual report from there and I looked at their income statements and balance sheet to get the expenses that I want. So I took three expenses which I like to observe, which is their marketing expense, technology expense, and other expenses. So according to their explanation on their annual reports, marketing expense is actually those expenses that occurred because of their marketing activities such as associates program, sponsor search, portal advertising, email marketing campaigns, direct sales, and other initiatives. Meanwhile, technology expense would be those expenses that are related to R&D. Research and development, and lastly, other expenses related to amortization of their intangible assets. So in this project, I created a limitation since Amazon has several different types of format for their annual reports. So I just choose those that look similar to avoid confusions. I chose starting from the year of 2000 until the year of 2015. Okay. So from these annual reports, I took all the expenses as I've said previously and put according to their type of expense in a given year and put it under this area over here. Okay, so other than expenses, I also took out the actual sales revenue and put under a different column over here as shown in column E. So the idea of a regression is to decide a coefficient for each variables. So later in the future, we can change these variables, which is the expenses, and we're going to create a regression model in which we hope to be able to predict Amazon sales, given that we know the variable are expenses. So the coefficient that we would like to find later using Excel Solver, I put it under the decision variable over here. So A is correspond just for the coefficient for that sales regression, and then B here is actually the coefficient for marketing expense, C is the coefficient for technology expense, and D is the coefficient for other expense. Okay. So other than that, I also created a sales projection column over here, which has the formula as shown here. So the formula is basically multiplying the expenses with its respective variables. So here, it is like the coefficient, C7 is the coefficient of marketing, and then times the variable of marketing in that year. So, and so on. It's the same for the technology expense and also for the other expense. And then I just like drag the formula down because they're all the same for each year. And we also have an error column over here, which is going to show how much does our prediction deviates from the actual sales. In regression line, we would like to minimize what is called as sum of square error, as shown over here. Okay, so the sum of square error has the formula of the sum of the total square error over here. Okay, and so the lower this sum of error over here is it's actually like indicating that our model is a good model. In simple language, the sales prediction over here isn't far behind from the actual sales. Okay, so using solver is actually just like the complicated part of using solver is actually doing the setup. So after all the setup's finally done, we can go to the final step, which is actually to use the Excel solver itself. So they will help us to determine the coefficients, and this is what the Excel solver should look like. So go to the under the data tab you'll find the solver tool, and then the objective will be to minimize, choose minimize over here, minimize the sum of square error, which is in cell H27. And by changing the variable cells, which are the coefficients cells, shown in cell B7 until cell E7 over here. Subject to constraints, we don't really have a constraint for this problem. And since this is a nonlinear programming problem, so we're going to use GRG nonlinear over here, and make sure you untick the make unconstrained variables non-negative, because it is possible to have a non-negative coefficients. And basically it's just that, and then you can click solve. I'm not going to click solve over here because it will change my setup page. So after you click solve, the result should be as what's shown here under my sales regression model. So it is actually very simple. But now let's take a look at our findings. So here we have our coefficients shown in row 7. And this is the marketing coefficient, and which we can see it has a positive coefficient, and this is the technology coefficient and the other expense coefficient, which we can see that they have a negative value, which means if we want to boost the sales revenue, we need to focus more on marketing and try to spend less on technology and other expenses. Because why is that? Okay, so to better explain what I just said previously, I put here again the regression model from the coefficient over here. So as you can see here, because the marketing expense has a positive coefficient, every time you put a value to this B over here, which is the marketing expense, it's going to increase like the sales by $30. So that's what it actually meant. And if you put like expenses like here, for the technology, it's going to lower the sales by $4.49, and the same goes with the other expenses. So basically that's what it meant. To better illustrate my sales regression prediction here, I also created a graph, which is this Amazon sales revenue. The blue line is showing the actual sales revenue, and the red line is showing the sales prediction. So as you can see here, my sales prediction is actually quite similar to the actual sales revenue, which is very, very good. Other than that, another proof to show that how good my model is, I use a analysis toolpack sales regression, which can be found in here. Data analysis regression, and then you just click OK. I put the input Y range as this actual sales revenue and the X range from the like marketing expense, technology expense, and also other expenses as they are the variables. And then you just click OK, and later you will find the result as shown here. So in statistics, what you're interested to find is to know what the adjusted R-square is. And here it is shown as 98.84%, which means that 98.84% variations in this model can be explained by this model. So it is actually a very good model because it can predict accurately the actual sales revenue. And we can also see that the coefficient they generated by Analysis Toolpack has the same coefficient as what we found from Excel Solver, like as you can see over here. So basically that is it. It is very simple, a very complicated setup, but actually a very easy way to use Excel Solver. I hope that this is insightful and then can give you more insights on how to use Excel Solver to solve some business problems. Thank you very much.